All right, welcome to NFL Nexus, the place you come to for the real stories behind the box scores. Hey, if you love getting into the weeds on all things NFL, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. And of course, like the video. It helps a ton. Okay, so let's talk about last season's Los Angeles Rams. When I say that, what's the first thing that pops into your head? It's got to be that offense, right? An absolute juggernaut, a machine that just chewed up and spit out defenses every single week. But here's the thing about the NFL. Even the teams that look invincible on the surface have these hidden cracks, these quiet vulnerabilities. And for the Rams, their biggest, most complicated question this offseason isn't about their superstars. No, it's about a problem that's been hiding in plain sight the whole time. So here's how we're going to tackle this today. First, we're going to set the stage and talk about just how dominant that Rams offense really was. Then we'll get into the team's mindset, this relentless chase for perfection that really defines who they are. From there, we'll zoom in on the unsung hero, the crucial role of a backup player, and then explore why that very player is now one of the hottest names in free agency. And finally, we'll put it all together to understand the Rams' real and seriously underrated dilemma this offseason. Okay, first up, an unstoppable force. Now, to really get why the Rams are in this tricky spot, you first have to appreciate just how incredible their offense was last year. I'm not just saying they were pretty good. I mean, they were legitimately, week in and week out, in the argument for the single best offense in the entire National Football League. I mean, just try to put yourself in the shoes of an opposing defensive coordinator. It's Tuesday morning, you come into the office, and you see the Rams are next on the schedule. Your whole week is ruined. It was a complete and total nightmare. You're watching film, trying to figure out how to stop Sean McVay's offense with all its pre-snap motions and shifts. It's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube in a hurricane. They lull you to sleep with the short stuff, and then bam, they hit you with a 50-yard bomb over the top. It was relentless. The question for opponents wasn't if the Rams were going to score, it was just how many times, and how badly they were going to embarrass you doing it. And this whole terrifying unit was built around four absolute studs. You start with the guy pulling the trigger, Matthew Stafford, the veteran gunslinger who was playing at a legitimate MVP level. Then, of course, you've got his go-to guy, the Super Bowl MVP, Cooper Kupp. The guy's a master craftsman out there, just a genius at running routes. And just when defenses thought, okay, we'll just double-team Kupp, this rookie, Puka Nacua, explodes onto the scene and rewrites the record books. He instantly became one of the best receivers in the league. Oh, and to keep you honest, you had Kyron Williams in the backfield, a tough, do-it-all back who was just a monster. It's an insane amount of talent all on one offense. So you look at all that talent, all those all-pros, and here's the kicker for the Rams. Every single one of them is coming back next season. So the off-season plan should be simple, right? Run it back. Do the same thing. Keep the machine rolling. It should be the most stress-free off-season imaginable for the offense. But if you've paid any attention to how the Rams operate, you know they just don't do simple. And that leads us right into the team's entire philosophy, this never-ending quest for perfection. You'd think with an offense that's stacked with all the key guys returning, the front office would just focus on defense, maybe find a new punter, and call it a day. But that is just not in their DNA. For these guys, being great is just the starting point. So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? The offense wasn't the problem. In fact, most weeks, it was the entire solution. But for a team with championship or bust aspirations, not being the problem is a pretty low bar. The standard they hold themselves to is perfection, and they will exhaust every single option to get one step closer to it. Standing pat is just not a phrase in their vocabulary. And that culture comes directly from the top. General manager Les Snead and head coach Sean McVay are just wired to be aggressive. This isn't just talk. We've seen it time and time again. This is the F them picks front office, remember? They're the ones who traded a king's ransom for Jalen Ramsey without blinking. They did it again to get Matthew Stafford, and it won them a Super Bowl. They are not afraid to make massive, landscape-shifting moves if they believe it improves their odds of winning, even by a tiny fraction. And that aggression, that constant tinkering, it's all fueled by this incredible sense of urgency. For this current Rams roster, the Super Bowl window isn't just open, it's wide open, right now. And in the NFL, you never know when that window is going to slam shut. To pour a little more gasoline on the fire, the next Super Bowl is going to be played in their own building, SoFi Stadium. So the pressure isn't just to be good, the pressure is to win the whole thing at home. Okay, so now we get to the heart of the matter, a backup's crucial role. You hear all this about an aggressive front office and a loaded roster, and you're probably thinking the big question is, who's the next superstar they're going to trade for? But that's not it. The real hidden story, the team's biggest dilemma, isn't about a player they might bring in. It's about a critical piece they are almost certainly about to lose. And this is what makes this story so interesting. The single biggest question for this high-powered, star-studded offense has nothing to do with Stafford, Kupp, Nakua, or Williams. Nope, it's about a player whose most important work wasn't on Sunday Night Football. It was done on the practice fields in the dog days of summer, far away from any cameras. And that player is backup quarterback Jimmy Garoppolo. Right here, this is the entire conflict boiled down to one sentence. The Rams see him as a guy they absolutely need to have on their roster, but the reality of the situation is that his bags are probably already packed. So why? Why is a backup quarterback so critical? Well, you have to go back to last year's training camp. Remember, Matthew Stafford was dealing with a nagging back issue and had to sit out. That's a moment where panic can set in for a team. Your whole offensive install gets delayed, chemistry suffers. It can derail a season before it even starts. But for the Rams, Jimmy G just seamlessly stepped in. He wasn't just a warm body throwing passes. He took every single first-team rep. He ran the show in crucial joint practices against other teams, getting the timing down with the receivers, making the calls at the line. He was essentially the starting quarterback for the entire preseason. And then, the second Stafford was healthy, Jimmy quietly went back to being the number 2, no complaints, no drama. That is the definition of a pro's pro. And all that unglamorous work he put in during August, it paid off big time all season long. People inside the organization will tell you he's a massive reason why that offense came out of the gates looking so sharp and stayed that way. He didn't just hold down the fort. He got the engine perfectly tuned so Stafford could just hop in and hit the gas. A backup quarterback who can do that, who has the talent of a starter, the complete trust of the coaching staff, and the respect of his teammates, is worth his weight in gold. He's not just a player, he's the ultimate insurance policy. Which, of course, leads to the problem. We're now talking about Garoppolo as a coveted free agent. You see, when a backup performs that well and has that kind of impact, other teams notice, especially teams that don't have a Matthew Stafford. They see what he did for the Rams behind the scenes, and now they want him to be their guy out front. And the Rams aren't trying to play it cool either. Sean McVay could not have been more clear about it. He said, quote, "I love Jimmy. I would absolutely want him back. We would love him back." I mean, that's not some vague coach speak. That's a direct, almost desperate plea. McVay and the front office know exactly how valuable he was. But Sean McVay is also a realist. He knows how the league works. Right after saying how much he wants him back, he admitted he's not naive. He knows a guy with Jimmy's track record is going to get phone calls from other teams. And he knows those other teams can offer the one thing the Rams can't, a chance to be the starter. And it just so happens that one of the biggest opportunities for him is coming from the worst possible place for the Rams, a division rival. The Arizona Cardinals are reportedly very, very interested, which creates a compelling and frankly very convenient option for Garoppolo. So let's just break this down from Jimmy G's perspective. In Los Angeles, your role is defined. You're the high-end backup, the ultimate safety net for a team that has a real shot to win the Super Bowl. But then you look at Arizona, and the opportunity is completely different. You get the chance to be QB1. You get to be the guy again. You'd be reuniting with an offensive coordinator you know well in Mike LaFleur. And sure, the weapons in LI are proven superstars, but Arizona has a really exciting young core. So what do you choose? The chance to be a contributor on a championship team, or the chance to be the leader of your own team? And we really can't overstate how big this decision is for him personally. This isn't just another contract. For a veteran QB like Jimmy Garoppolo, who's been to a Super Bowl as a starter, this opportunity in Arizona might be his last real shot to be a day-one starter in the NFL. And for a competitor, for a guy who's been at that level, that allure, that chance to be the leader in the huddle, it's almost impossible to say no to. So we bring it all together and we arrive at the Rams' real dilemma. Once you connect all these dots, this elite offense, this hyper-aggressive front office, and the almost certain departure of this quiet, crucial player, the Rams' biggest challenge this offseason becomes crystal clear. It has nothing to do with adding more talent. It's about replacing someone who may very well be irreplaceable. And that's the great irony of this whole situation. For a team known for its flash, its creativity, its offensive firepower, their most pressing need isn't about scoring more points. It's about stability. It's about security. It's about having that peace of mind that if your franchise quarterback twists an ankle, your entire multi-million-dollar season doesn't just go up in smoke. That's what Jimmy Garoppolo gave them, and finding that again is incredibly difficult. So let's just recap what we've learned here. First, that Rams offense, as great as the stars were, was built on a foundation of more than just talent. Second, Jimmy Garoppolo provided that invaluable depth and preseason preparation that set the whole thing up for success. Third, his likely exit to go be a starter somewhere else doesn't just create a normal hole on the depth chart, it creates a massive one, which means that finding a new backup who has that same rare mix of starter-level talent, system knowledge, and the right ego-free personality is now one of the single biggest and toughest challenges the Rams had this offseason.
And that really leaves us with this final lingering question. In today's NFL, a league completely obsessed with analytics and numbers, the Rams are facing a problem that a spreadsheet can't solve. How in the world do you replace a player whose greatest value, whose biggest impact on your season, never even showed up in the box score? I'm curious to hear what you all think. What should the Rams do? Let me know in the comments. And hey, really, thank you for watching. Your support means the world. You can help the channel out by checking out our coloring books. They're great for kids, grandkids, even for adults looking to unwind. The link is down in the description, or you can just scan the QR code right here on the screen. Thanks again for watching NFL Nexus. We'll catch you on the next one.